Alright, so welcome back to Tidal Blades, Heroes of the Reef. So for this video and the next few videos, which will be probably shorter than most of the other videos I've done for this game, I want to basically get to know our characters a little bit better. I want to, they each have a unique story that's really interesting about them, and so I think, they should have their own video of getting to know each one of them better. So let's start with my personal favorite, Cayman the Crocodile here, and basically read his story. So Cayman's story. Cayman is a trained mercenary who hunts dangerous creatures for a living. His entire family was killed by a Barracuda years ago, and on that day he swore to become the greatest monster hunter who ever lived. Joining the Tidal Blades would be an honor, and give him a chance to avenge his loved ones and make the world a better place. He is a resourceful and tough competitor, but like most crocs in Rivalry, he's treated as an outcast by the turtle guards. With such a recognizable stature, he'll need to be especially careful when visiting his friend, Horn Eyes, in the black market. So that's Cayman. So obviously he's considered as an outcast. The turtle guards, which obviously the judge, he's actually a turtle guard, basically, right? Obviously they don't like him that much. Then again, they don't like crocodiles that much in general. So obviously he's going to have an interesting, unique play style because he's an outcast. Now, obviously he also had a horrible childhood. He lost his parents to a monster, a Barracuda. And, there's obviously lots of monsters in this game. And so, the monster that apparently killed his parents was this one here, the Barracuda. So, obviously, he would love to take that monster on if it was to show up. Not that you would technically have to if you were playing as him, but, it'd be kind of like a thematic sense. You'd be like, if you were playing as him and that monster happened to show up, you'd be like, ooh, we should try to defeat it to avenge his parents and all that, obviously. And to obviously keep the world safe, too, keep it at peace, because that monster is still going to attack the town anyways. But basically, that's his story. Now, obviously, his play style is also interesting. Cayman is used to tough odds, and is always ready for a challenge. As a croc, he's reminded of the age-old grudge with turtles whenever he sets foot in the upper city. Luckily, he can count on the supportive croc locals to get a few extra shells. And obviously, I won't talk about the rest of this, but basically that's his play style. Now, each character is going to get these character cards, and they're each going to start with one. One of the character cards is something everybody actually has, and that's the shield upgrade. And for him, his shield upgrade is called the Hunter's Fist, okay? And you'll tuck this card under your shell shield. This upgrade adds a new permanent use for shells, which will be spend 3 shells from the shield to gain a novice dice once per turn. So that's really cool. I like that ability a lot. So if you can manage to get this one and, add it to your shell shield, that's a really good one to get. And everybody gets the shield upgrade, so that's something that everybody can use. Now, obviously, there's a lot of different abilities that each character is going to have. But one thing they'll always have is there's one artifact you can acquire. So for Cayman here, he can get this one, the Crab Bone Crossbow, and it came in handy for me. When you visit the fold, refresh 1 dice. And if you discard this card, meaning if you decide to discard this card, you won't get the benefit of refreshing dice when you visit the fold. But if you decide to discard this card, you can add a second copy of your bonus dice. So if you get a bonus dice and you decide to discard this, you actually have 2 bonus dice instead of 1. So that's a cool ability, obviously. And then we have Outcasts Victory. When you push it on a focus challenge, move +1 on the champion board. So whenever Cayman takes on a challenge that has this symbol on it, okay, focus, if he pushes it, meaning he was able to complete the challenge with the Dotted lines also completed. He's going to get to move +1 on the bonus on the champion board. So that's one additional way that he can move up on the challenge board. That's cool. Now, remember I told you worker placement, a lot of the worker placement places you can go to, only one character can go there? He can break that rule with this character card called Irregular Mooring. You may take an action on a space that already has a single action disc. So technically, if I was playing as Cayman and somebody took the first player token and thought, I don't have to worry about anyone taking this now. Not for this round. If I had this ability, they would be sorely mistaken. But that's basically an additional ability that he can have, and there's no guarantee I have this ability anyways. Then he's also a generous trainer. You may give one fruit to another character on the same island. So if I was on Lamar Stadium and Axel was also on Lamar Stadium, I could give him one fruit, and if I do that, I get to increase my stunt power by 2 this turn. So that's cool. That could come in handy if I have a stunt I really want to use. Then there's Merc for Hire. After fighting a monster, gain 1 fruit for each different type of trait you hit. So if you hit more than 1 different type of trait when you were fighting a monster, and you had this ability, you would gain 1 fruit for each type you hit in addition to all the other stuff that you got. Cool, right? Then we have Tricks of the Trade. You may use shells as fruit and fruit as shells. So basically, if I, for instance, don't have shells, but I need to block a hit with that X when that X shows up, and I had this ability, Tricks of the Trade, I could use fruit instead. So I could actually put fruit onto the shell shield. Cool, right? And likewise with the other way around. If I wanted to roll more dice or use fruit to buy cards at the market, I could use shells instead because I have Tricks of the Trade. That would be a cool ability to have. Then we have Solitary Warrior. When you are alone, you may discard a stunt or challenge card from your hand to gain a novice dice. You can do this once per turn. This is a cool ability. You might have a bunch of challenges you just don't think you'll ever be able to compete in. Maybe you went to the Citadel of Time up there and you got a bunch of challenges over and over, and you went to Lamar Stadium and you got some extra challenges there, and now you have all these extra challenges and you don't think you're going to compete in all of them. This could be a useful ability to have if you have Solitary Warrior. You could just exchange it, or a stunt for that matter. If you have a stunt you don't think you're going to use, you can exchange it for a bonus dice, or should I say not a bonus dice, but a novice dice, which is pretty cool. Then we have Fruitful Connections. When you buy from the market, you may pay 1 fruit to draw the top card of the market deck instead. That could be very useful. Let's say the top card of the market deck is a 4 fruit. Oh, even better, a 3 fruit. If it's a 3 fruit, you only paid 1 fruit for this card to get 5 shells. That's awesome, right? Normally it would cost you 3 shells for this card, but because you have this Fruitful Connections, you only spent 1 fruit for this. But because it is the top card of the market deck, you don't know what you're going to get. But that's still a very good deal if you ask me, because it could potentially be something that costs 4, and you only ended up spending 1. That's an awesome ability. Then there's Ancient Rivalry. When you visit the Citadel of Time or the Chronoseum, gain 1 shell. So if you're playing as Cayman and you have this one out, this is your character card you have out, every time you go to the Citadel of Time, every time you go to the Chronoseum, you're going to get a shell because of your Ancient Rivalry with the turtles. So that's kind of cool too. I like that one. And then we have Crocodile Armor. When you are alone, so let's say I'm at Lamar Stadium and nobody else is at Lamar Stadium currently. There might be some player tokens at Lamar Stadium, but if there's no one actually standing up at Lamar Stadium, I'm technically alone. And so when you are alone, do not roll the danger dice on your first roll each turn. Oh, that's cool. So I won't have to roll this dice the first time I roll. That's cool. If that works for a challenge, and that works for fighting a monster to boot. So that's Crocodile Armor for you. Tough as nails, for sure. And there's even an advanced shell shield as well. I'm not sure what the advanced shell shield is for, but something tells me It's only for if you're playing the advanced mode. But there's that as well. And so that is all of the character cards that Cayman has, and that is his story. So, who's next? See you guys in the next video.